there still a chance to block Donald Trump from taking office? Hello, everybody. David Schuster reporting. One of the most searched and read news items now is a piece published in the Hill newspaper. The column in the D.C. publication cites the Constitution, says Congress has the power to stop Donald Trump from taking office, and urges lawmakers to act. Even Fox News has taken notice.
So there was a piece in the Hill as you get ready to come back here, swearing in the new Congress, got to elect a speaker, do all of these things. This piece in the Hill by two attorneys said that Congress needs to block President Trump from being certified as the winner. They said Democrats need to take a stand against electoral college votes for a person disqualified by the Constitution from holding office. And they have arguments about that. No less is required by their oath to support and defend the Constitution. Now, in 2016, a number of Democrats did push back against certifying the first win by President Trump. What do you expect this time around?
We're going to certify the election. I plan to show up to the inauguration. It's not about President Trump. It's about honoring the American people. And we've got to get past this thing that everything has to be partisan. You know, when I put forward a proposal of common sense on H-1B reform, I had people on my side saying, why are you doing that, Ro? Let the Republicans fight. Let them destroy each other fighting. That's the wrong approach. We're Americans first. We've got to be solution-oriented. The American people just elected Donald Trump. I worked my heart out to oppose him. I went to every state, but we lost the election. We respect the American people, and now let's think about how we have a better message going forward.
So as you heard from Democrat Khanna, there is zero chance, no chance that Democrats are going to try and block Donald Trump's certification. However, the language in the Constitution is clear, and there is a compelling argument that Democratic lawmakers should show respect to that language through a symbolic vote before the certification of the Electoral College. The Constitution's 14th Amendment, Section 3, passed in the aftermath of the Civil War and was designed to prevent former Confederate officials from holding federal office. The language states, quote, no person shall be a senator or representative in Congress or elector of president and vice president or hold any office, civil or military, under the United States or under any state who, having previously taken an oath as a member of Congress or as an officer of the United States or as a member of any state legislature or as an executive or judicial officer of any state, to support the Constitution of the United States, shall have engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the same, or given aid or comfort to the enemies thereof. But Congress may, by a vote of 2/3 of each house, remove such disability. Congress invoked this amendment and this language for several would-be office holders following the Civil War. And Congress passed the 1870 Enforcement Act to enforce the provision. Disqualification is based on insurrection against the Constitution, not the government. And the evidence that Donald Trump engaged in insurrection against the Constitution is overwhelming. In his second impeachment trial, a majority of the House voted to impeach him for incitement of the January 6th insurrection. In Colorado, a judicial process trial found that by clear and convincing evidence, quote, that President Trump engaged in insurrection as those terms are used in Section 3. The Colorado Supreme Court affirmed the ruling, and while the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that Donald Trump could not be kept off the ballot, the Supreme Court did not address the finding that Trump engaged in an insurrection. Finally, there were dozens of witnesses, all Republicans who worked for Donald Trump, who testified in the congressional hearings investigating January the 6th. Their testimony was overwhelming that Trump violated his oath to the Constitution. Trump's disqualification under the 14th Amendment, Section 3, is no different from disqualification based on other constitutional requirements, such as age, citizenship from birth, and 14 years residency in the United States. And again, if the Congress wants to get around the Constitution, there needs to be a vote in the House and in the Senate. I have no doubt that Donald Trump would get the 2/3 support in both chambers. It would arguably be political suicide for Democrats to try and stop Donald Trump now, given the American people have spoken and the election outcome was clear. But having a vote in Congress to get around the 14th Amendment would be important both historically and symbolically. It would signal to all future would-be office holders that we still expect adherence to the U.S. Constitution and that nobody gets a freebie or will have their insurrection efforts ignored. The vote in Congress might only be a footnote in history, but it's an important footnote to have in the record. It would be a middle ground approach. Donald Trump wouldn't be denied the presidency, but Donald Trump would not get away unblemished, at least in the congressional record. This issue also sets up another question facing Democrats, and that is how to handle Donald Trump in the years ahead.
All right, so let me get you respond then to Jen Rubin, who writes an opinion column over at the Washington Post. She says Democrats should not try to find common ground with Trump. She says a depressingly high number of elected Democrats are declaring their intent to find, quote, common ground with President-elect Donald Trump and his, as she calls it, crackpot cabinet picks. Their naive, tone-deaf declarations epitomize an infatuation with bipartisanship for bipartisanship's sake. She says you shouldn't be doing it. Your response?
We need to look at it issue by issue. No one is saying that we should work with Republicans or Donald Trump if there's any proposal to cut Social Security, or if there is a proposal to politicize the Justice Department, or if there is a proposal to abolish the Department of Education. Of course, Democrats will oppose that with our values. But if the president has actually a good idea to bring manufacturing back, or to cut wasteful defense spending, or to make our food system safer and get the additives out of our food, why wouldn't we want to work on things that are good for the American people? This is the part of politics that folks are sick about, that we're always looking at things from a partisan lens as opposed to what's good for America. And what they want actually is change agents on the Republican side and the Democratic side.
On all of that, Ro Khanna is correct. Democrats should take everything issue by issue. Support Donald Trump on the occasions when he does boost progressive priorities. Fight Donald Trump on his conservative agenda, including giving tax breaks to the wealthy and in things that will only hurt workers. There's nothing wrong with disagreements and vigorous debate, but do it on the merits of the issue, not because of the partisan politics. If Donald Trump is forced to maintain the status quo of governance because he cannot get congressional votes through Congress, that's fine. In my view, Trump will do less harm to America if he has to spend more time on his golf courses. Just make him a president that cannot get his conservative legislative agenda through Congress. And again, if Democrats still value the Constitution, they should put an asterisk at the start of the congressional record in 2025. Have that extra vote to address the 14th Amendment, Section 3. The outcome will not block Trump from taking office or alter the results of the election, but it will be part of the congressional record for all eternity and underscore that insurrectionists, even in the age of Donald Trump, will not get a free pass. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. I'm David Schuster. Thanks for joining us.